let's go ahead and start. And how we're going to start, of course, is to do 3 ohms together. And remember, the reason why we do the 3 ohms together is to pull all of our energies together so that we're synchronized, right? Okay, so ready? And so here we are. So does anybody remember what our word was? Gratitude. That's exactly right. So gratitude has been our word all through November. It's really the one month that I, generally speaking, have the same word. Because it is our word. I just take advantage of it that we're already focusing on the word thanks, Thanksgiving. So it's like, might as well just join in and get on that bandwagon and go with it, you know? So our word has been gratitude, and the saboteur for gratitude is the word resentment. And how this works is that gratitude actually works on our memory, because every time that you're grateful for something, you're remembering. You're looking into the past, and the past could be a few moments ago. It could be 50 years ago, but it's about the past. It's something that's already occurred. Like I said, it could be just a few moments ago and beyond. So it's like something happens just a couple moments ago, and you're like, oh gosh, I'm so grateful you're here. Oh my gosh, I was really panicked, right? And you can see that feeling of gratitude also has relief with it, you know, in some way. When we're grateful, we're like, oh, it feels good. Gratitude works on the past in the sense of that what it does is it makes us be aware of the goodness, because it's very easy to remember the past in terms of what bad things have happened to us, what bad words were said to us, what bad actions were done to us. Of course, we don't really dwell on what bad words did I say to others and what bad actions did I do to others, but that's for another time for us to talk about. Right now, what happens is that we gratitude is one of the dispellers of darkness. So darkness in this sense has to do with tendencies that do not generate goodness. Really, when you put a plant in the dark, if it's not a mushroom, it's not going to necessarily thrive. Most everything needs light, and everything does need light, just various amounts of light. Gratitude is light because it brings light to something that we thought was difficult in the past, which was dark. So somebody says something to you and it discourages you, and then you mull on it for a long period of time, and then you talk yourself out of something. But then it kind of comes to you, you know what? Maybe they don't know what they're talking about. And you get the courage inside of yourself and you start to move forward and things start to change. And lo and behold, you were so grateful. But if that doesn't happen and somebody tells you you shouldn't do that, but you can see later on that it would have worked out, what we can end up doing is feeling resentful. So what is resentment? It's one part hurt. Absolutely. It is that painful hurt. It's one part anger. Arrgh. I shouldn't have listened. Why did I do it that way? Why did they do this to me? And it's hidden from us. It's tucked away. It's in our heart, but it's in the back of our heart. So we don't know it's there until somebody does a little itty bitty, teeny weeny, tiny little slight. And when that slight comes in, all of a sudden, all of this pain, this hurt comes rushing through, and you're like totally overreacting. Are you kidding me? You put that there? That's 2 inches from where it should be, right? And we're just blowing up, and the other person's looking at us like, what happened? Was all of that about that? Of course not. It was all about everything that led up to that feeling. That little moment where we lose it, that is just like they say, the proverbial stick breaking the camel's back, so to speak, right? It just touches on something that was so inflamed, so infected inside of us. And the minute it touched on it, have you ever had a sore that if you touch on it, that's what this is. That little incident touched on this hidden pain that we've been holding inside of us and not even realizing it. But it reminds us that that pain was reacting inside of us all along. It was causing us to lose hope. It was causing us to feel like, ugh, right, yeah, hope. I'll take a bunch. Resentment moves through us. Just because it's hidden doesn't mean it's neatly tucked away in a little box and it can't get out. The whole time it's polluting us. And it's making us forget the good in our life. It's making us forget about all the good that's inside of us. And we're like, wait, what do you mean? But I have had a really difficult time. Yes. And where is your gratitude for your ability to overcome? Every single one of us has overcome. And we will continue to overcome. But what we do is that we dwell on what caused us to have to overcome. So, we're like, no, this happened, and I would have been here if this wouldn't have happened. And it makes us forget this power inside of us to overcome, to live again, so to speak, to be able to be reborn, to have joy. If you've ever had a loss or a breakup, it makes you feel like it is the end of the world. You could lose your home and it make you feel like it's the end of the world. And these things are real. When these things happen to people, those feelings, it's not like it's an illusion. It's not like we just should go up to them and say, why are you crying? You'll overcome. In that moment, we're lost. We're broken. We're crushed, whatever it may be. And from that moment, we are vulnerable to resentment. Because it's so hard for us to bear this loss, we start wanting to make it somebody's fault. Make it our own fault. Make it somebody else's fault. Well, this has happened because, it's because of the Brazilian government. It's because of my neighbor. It's because of my dad. It's because of whatever it is, And before you know it, now we're like on a crusade to make sure that everybody knows this is painful, and this is who did this pain to me, or this is why this pain. So I'm not thinking about my ability to overcome. I'm not even concentrating on it. I'm not working on it. I can't, because I'm very, very busy talking about why I can't. And all of that energy in my mind about why I can't overcome it makes me focus on the injury, not on healing. We all focus on our injuries. We all do. We all focus on, that really hurt me. Yes. And it's still in your recipe. It didn't go away. Every time that you've been hurt in this lifetime, it's still part of you. It didn't go away. When we overcome something, it means those symptoms aren't showing so much. But that event is still with us, and it's still part of us, and it colors who we are and how we think and how we respond to others. It is part of you. And it's better for you to understand that what happened to you is now, it's part of your recipe, and because it's your overcoming. Don't forget how strong you are. Because we have these bouts with badness, with hurt in our life, and it literally makes us feel like we're weak, like we can't get up. No one's ever going to love me again. I'll never have this moment again. It's gone forever. Excuse me? Every moment is gone forever. Every moment. This moment we're having right now, in the next moment, it's gone forever. But it lives inside of us. So when I say it's gone forever, it means you can't do anything about it. But it's now part of you. So this moment that we're sharing right now, you can't do anything about it, in the sense of you can't make it go away. It is now part of you. That's why when people say things to us that are harsh, we say, you can't unhear those words. You can't unsee bad things, so to speak. They still stay in your mind. Boom, boom, boom. And they're like echoes. Boom, boom, boom. Every time that there's something in your environment that reminds you of it, boom, boom, boom. And we have to find this place of gratitude that, okay, the echo of the bad thing is still with me, but you see, the bad thing isn't. It's now an echo. Boom, boom, boom. But that echo is packed with the memory of the pain. And the best thing to do in that moment is to help yourself to try to remember that you don't live there anymore. It's part of you, which is why you're hearing it, why you're hearing the echo. The echo is a reminder that that bad thing is part of you. And the other part that's with you is the power that you had to overcome it. You might be thinking, but if I've overcome it, why is it still with me? Because it's with you, because it's part of you. Because your bones grow all the time, and they're not the same as they were when they were children, and they have all these new cells in them, it doesn't mean they're not the same bones. And they're still holding the history of who you've been. Your bones hold all of the accidents that you've had in your life. It holds diseases that you've had in your life. Your bones are memories. They hold everything. Your body holds memories. Every part of you is a bag of memories. Not only your mind, but your body holds memories. I have some things going on in my hip from time to time, and this is about injuries from a long time ago. It's still with me. So that means the mental and emotional memories are with me too. Now, if I think about that every day, oh yeah, and this is what happened, and let me tell you about how bad it was. It'll make me forget to tell you the power of overcoming, the power to heal, to move forward, to take those bad memories and to bring them up. Pay attention to them as these are teachers. They're not just things that have come to me because I've been picked out as a bad person and I've been misunderstood. These things are all parts of other lifetimes. Nothing just is going to come into your life just because. Everything has its roots in other lifetimes. And of course, we don't remember those consciously. There's some things that we can remember from time to time. The more that you have a natural understanding that we don't die. Only the body dies. Of course it dies. The earth's body will die, but that which is inhabiting the earth, the spirit of the earth, will never die. This earth is not inanimate because it's rocks. Rocks aren't inanimate. We live in a living universe. We do not live on a dead object. You can't get life from a dead object. It's not a dead shell. Earth is a living being. Consciousness. Consciousness is in everything. Everything. And the more we start to understand that, we start to realize we mirror one another. So not only do we have to overcome things, not only have to, don't you want to? Because we do feel like overcoming is like I have to do this, I have to overcome. What else am I going to do? I have to, I don't have any choice. Why don't we celebrate that? Oh, okay, I'm going to overcome. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to commit myself to it. No, we're like, oh no, now I have to overcome. We don't even bring any joy into understanding that the power to overcome is inherent. It's inherent. No matter what, it's there. But we have to access it. So if we don't feel like the earth is a living being and has feelings, so to speak, how are you going to remember it about yourself too? We all work in the same way. I think the earth has a lot to overcome right now. Her inhabitants are being quite rude to her. So she has a lot to overcome. And guess what? She will. So she's our mother in this sense. So she's showing us, if I can overcome all this, pardon my language, but I can overcome all this crap that you guys are putting all over me, you can too. So gratitude has to do with memory, to remember that we have the power to overcome, the power to heal. Why do you think the phoenix bird myth is universal? That myth comes in a variety of forms all over the world. But the phoenix bird She represents us. She represents humanity. So she's flying along, minding her own business. And she looks down on Earth and she's like, what's that? What is that? Oh my God, I got to see what that is. She goes in a little lower there, get a little good look, see what that is. And she's like, what? That is the most intensely beautiful fire that I've ever seen in my whole life. Okay, no, it's dangerous if I go towards it. And then she makes the decision. And she dives, boom, right into that fire. So the fire is a metaphor for desires. So beautiful, so tantalizing, so warm, the promise of warmth and joy. So she dives into it, but this fire was dangerous. And it completely consumed her. So remember, we all get consumed by our desires, don't we? I gotta have it, I gotta have it. And then when that person doesn't let you have it, we feel like everything's over. And that's what happened to her. So there she was. She was in the fire. And then she wasn't in the fire because she disintegrated. It took her life as she had known it to be. But you see, life is so interesting. We as humans somehow or another think that here's a period of living and then it's over and nothing ever happens ever again. The Phoenix Bird mystery says, how wrong you are, people. You can love again. You can do many, many things again. So what happens is it's a magical process. Magical because we don't see it and we don't know exactly how it works. So I use the word magical in limited ways. So here, this magical process is where all of her particles are coming back together and they're reforming her. And what happens is then she becomes reformed and she has the ability to rise out of the fire and to fly longer and higher than she ever did before. This is what you do, what I do, what we do when we feel bereft, when we feel like, oh my God, I'm divorced. What am I going to do? It's over. My life is over. Oh my God, I lost my job. It's over. It's over. What will I ever do? My sweetheart left me. What will I ever do? Oh my God, this is horrible. And in that moment, that horror is about as real as real could be. But you're a human being. You're not designed to live in horror for the rest of your life. You are designed to overcome. Every human being has the ability to transform oneself, to take deeply painful events, learn from them, integrate them into our life, recognize and accept that they're part of our recipe. They'll never go away. And we remember and we respect what it taught us. There is no other way to transform but to fall over the ledge. We all take great falls. But we have to remember that the recovery has a lot to do with gratitude. To be grateful for your inner strength. I can't tell you how many times I've said to certain people that have been sitting with me, they've been going through things, and I'll say, I really respect your strength. And you'd think that I'd slap them. I don't want to be strong. Really? Why would you ever resent your strength? Because I shouldn't have to overcome. Of course you should have to. You don't have any option. You are a human being. You can pretend that you don't have to overcome, but you do. And if you just pretend that you don't have to, you will live in resentment and it will eat you up from the inside out. What a terrible thing to even consider. Resentment will eat at your brain. It'll eat at your mind. Remember those bad things. Remember when nobody understood you. Remember all those people that you helped and they didn't come back and help you. Remember. That's what resentment does. It teaches you to remember the pain, remember the pain, remember the pain. Now, you won't grow from that. You don't need to remember the pain because it's already with you. You don't have to teach yourself to remember. It won't go away. It's still with you. All you have to do is reflect on it for just a moment. And there it is in full form. You don't have to tell yourself, we will never forget this pain. No, you won't forget it. You don't have to go to these ridiculous extremes to announce that you're never going to forget it. Basically, to me, when people do that, it's like we are going to wallow in this pain for the rest of our lives. And if you really knew what that was saying, we wouldn't say it. That pain is with you. The ability to overcome that pain is with you and will stay with you also. The healing process will never, ever go away. So here's the event that hurt you. Here's the healing process. Here's your future way over here. Your future will remember the healing process as well as the event. The healing process is what makes you a human being. It makes us question ourselves. Who am I? Why did this happen to me? There must be a bigger reason for these things. It's designed to help us to think larger, not just focus on our wound and the person that we regard as our victimizer. We're to learn how to overcome. This is why we do the virtue and the saboteur. Resentment is real, and everybody knows what it is. And yeah, we can stay in it. We can bathe in it. We can eat from it. But we have gratitude. We can bathe in it. We can eat from it. The gratitude only comes into your life because you have something to overcome. If you just think it's just about, oh, look how pretty this is. Oh, thank you so much for this non-candle candle. Thank you for this wonderful candlelight. You think gratitude is only that. No, that's easy. And it is gratitude. It's the easiest form of gratitude. And even that isn't something that people do all day long. How many times do we feel like there wasn't even decent courtesy? What happened to common courtesy? And then we feel resentment that there's not common courtesy. And then we're going on and on and on about there's no common courtesy anymore. And do you have it? Do you have common courtesy? How do you treat strangers? How do you treat people who make errors in their cars on the freeway? How do you treat them? Where is your common decency, your courtesy? These are the things, if we focus on being grateful, these things come more natural, more easy to us. And then it makes us start to understand that gratitude is not that easy. Common courtesies, it's difficult enough. But the deep forms of gratitude require some sort of emptiness, something that was taken from us or seemed like it was. And we have to find the good in that situation. And then we feel resentful because we're like, I shouldn't have to find the good. That shouldn't even happen to me. I don't know about should have. All I know is that everything is cause and effect. And we all have a past that we don't remember. And we all have things that, everything that's going on in our current life right now today has its roots in yesterday and all the hundreds of thousands of yesterdays that we've had before. Nothing ever goes away. Every thought that you've ever thought is still with you. It's so big, it's so hard to understand. But if we can just bring it down into just understanding that every moment is much bigger than we realize. Because it is. You know, like when people are with you one moment and then they die the next. Over the next few years, you see how much that person was with you. And even though they're gone, they're still with you. Which means you're still with them. See, we don't think about it that way. But wherever they are, we're still with them. So it's this bond between us. So whatever is happening with us still affects them. Whatever happens to them is affecting us. Wait, what? We don't think dimensionally. We think just what's right in front of us right now, right today. And people say, well, that's practical. Perhaps, perhaps. But if you don't allow yourself moments of cosmic thinking, how are you ever going to get there? Sometimes you do have to go, okay, I've had this bad day today and it's because of this, that, and the other thing. And what's that have to do with cosmic thinking? On a regular basis, I can't say every single day, but most days, I do make myself go outside and look at the stars to remember that they too are my brothers and sisters. I am related to them as much as they're related to me. So I don't start thinking that everything that I think is so incredibly important. It's important to have perspective. You know, when people lived a really, really long time ago, the night sky was visible. It's not visible now because we have to have lights all the time all over the world. But if you've ever seen the night sky without lights, doesn't it kind of even like make you where you're like kind of off balance even a little bit? It's like, what? This is where we live? You see, we forget how big we are. We're cosmic beings. Yeah, we matter. We're growing and changing and evolving, just like the planet we live on, just like everything else that's in the universe. Scientists will be the first ones to tell you we are made up of star stuff. We are. We're cosmic beings. And you see how it just kind of falls on us? Oh, I like that thought. That's an interesting thought. It's too big for us to actually integrate. Could you imagine if we actually were totally aware of it? Boom! Completely aware right at this moment that I'm a cosmic being. I would be very different, of course. So now I get little inklings that I'm a cosmic being. And what that does is it pulls out the best of us. It teaches us to remember that love is not an emotion. Love is consciousness, and it's inherent in everything. Perhaps it's what dark matter is. Dark matter is infused into everything. Something to ponder on if you like science. Love and consciousness, there's no difference. We just have different words to describe them. Love, we mix it up with desire. You know, we want spaghetti, so we say, oh, I love spaghetti. I need me some spaghetti. We want some spaghetti with vegan meatballs. We want spaghetti. I love spaghetti. Oh, and who are you going to eat that spaghetti with? Oh, my sweetie pie, who I love so much. We talk about spaghetti and our sweetie pie the same way. But we don't mean it that way. But we mix up desire and love. Desire is emotional, not love. Love is not an emotion. We express our emotions, we express love through our emotions. You see, if somebody's done something to me and now I'm feeling like, okay, I get that, I can let that go. That's love, but I'm expressing it through my emotions of forgiveness. Love is a power, it's a force. It's what makes everything grow. It's what makes things light up because its nature is light. So why would it be dark matter? Why wouldn't it be? Light comes in all shades. It doesn't mean just because our eyes don't see it doesn't mean it isn't light. If I were blind, I couldn't see light, but I could feel it. Light is everywhere. Light is everywhere. Light is inside of you. It's your essence. When you leave your body, you are still who you've always been, which means you are made up of light. You no longer have bones and tissue, but you have light. You had that light when you were in your body, and you have that light when you leave your body. You are still a light body. That's your essence. That's what you're made out of, light. That's what the universe is made out of, light. That's what love is made out of, light. That's what gratitude is. It's love, it's light, it's awareness. It's giving love in return. Gratitude is giving love in return. It's like, oh, I'm so joyful. I'm so happy. Yes, these bad things have happened to me. And I've had the power to overcome, which makes me so grateful. I don't have to live in darkness. I don't have to live that darkness every single day. Buddha taught us, that we all have desires, and he realized that it was very difficult for us to overcome our desires. So he taught us, that desires, they lead to attachments. So if you have a desire for spaghetti, you're going to be attached to that desire. So then you go out that night, you're going to go look for the place to have spaghetti, your favorite place. They're closed. Oh my God. So your desire, you couldn't work it out. So you go around town looking for spaghetti. You can't find it. So finally you go home and just make some and you're like, oh, right? So it makes you attached to wanting it until you can get that perfect spaghetti. You are on the search for perfect spaghetti. Maybe it takes you a month. You finally get that perfect spaghetti. It'll never be enough. You're going to want more of it at some point. Desires, in and of themselves, are not bad. But we must be careful because they lead to attachment. And attachment leads to sorrow. All the sorrow in your life is because you've been attached and something happened to that attachment and it caused you sorrow. Maybe I get my spaghetti, but somebody comes by and steals it off the table from me. Maybe a dog eats my spaghetti off my plate. I'm totally upset. Now I have sorrow. I've been looking forward to the spaghetti forever. You see how we get? Desire leads to attachment. Attachment leads to sorrow. So Buddha gave us a whole line of how to overcome this, called the Eightfold Noble Path. The Four Noble Truths are inside of that. So instead of me telling you about it, I'll tell you that. So you go get curious and look it up. Look at that. Because he gave us the way to overcome that. And it is through detachment. But we use this word detachment as a cold-hearted person. No, that's not what detachment is. Why would Buddha do that? Be cold-hearted, that'll work. Yeah, no. Detachment means you're not attached to how it should be. You see how hard that is? It's so hard. It's so hard to not have any attachments. But if we don't work on it, then we don't overcome. Overcoming. It's just another word for transformation. Transformation it's so big. And a lot of times people use transformation as a way to exchange it for change. And it's just not true. Transformation is a series of changes that occurs in our life. Collectively, those changes are so profound, they make it so that we can't go back. There are things that happen to us in life that you just can't go back. You can't, no, no. Once you become a teenager, you could never be a child again. The child still lives within you, but you can't be a full child. But the memory of your childhood is with you, you see? The memory of your teen years are with you, whether you consciously remember them or not. When people get older and they have issues with their memory, does that mean that those memories are gone, that they no longer exist in anyone? We're always afraid nobody's going to remember us. Memories do not go away. Because you've forgotten something doesn't mean it's there. Haven't you ever had the experience of, I don't remember that? And then somebody explains it to you maybe a couple of times, you're like, oh, yes. It was always there. Every single thing that you've ever experienced is still with you. It's part of your recipe. It's part of who you are. The things that make you want to do certain things, like what I do for a living, were you guys thinking the tarot cards at 12? Probably not. But that's where I've been. Apparently, I've had many roads down that way. So at 12 years old in this life, of course, I'm like, tarot cards, right on. That's where I need to be. That's what I need to do for the rest of my life. You see, where did that come from? Memory. That's in my memory. It's part of me. It's part of my recipe. Gratitude. Be grateful that you overcome. You could never be stuck in pain. It just is this weird thing that we decide, I'm going to live like this forever. I just know it. No. I've had that kind of pain where I thought, oh boy, now I'm going to have to get used to this. Waking up every day like this. Yeah, no. We all work through it. It could take 200 years. It could take 200 days. It could take 200 hours. It's dependent on so many different factors. The individual, the time in their life, the event, the this, the that, the amount of the attachment, blah, 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 blah. We don't need to analyze it that way. I'm pointing these things out so that we remember to have compassion for each and every one of us. Because you can look at somebody and go, I can't believe they're still on that sadness train about that divorce. When will they stop harping about that damn divorce? It's just reminding you of things that are bugging you. That's why it touches on that nerve and makes you annoyed by it. You too have something that you can't seem to let go of. So let it touch in on you and you go, oh, that's why they can't do it. Because they're still overwhelmed. And then when you understand that the person is just so overwhelmed that they can't think straight, then you can start to send them compassion. Because you realize, oh, it's, because we'll say, oh, well, yeah, she's just choosing to live like that. Right. She's choosing to live in the. It's a choice, so to speak. I wouldn't say an unconscious choice is what we should blame people about. When people are chronically sad, they're having a very difficult time to overcome it. Why would we make fun of them? Why would we point this bad thing out, so to speak? Where is your compassion for them? You know what it's like to be stuck, and you know what it's like to overcome. If you see somebody that's stuck, this is the perfect time to use that Ganesha prayer. Lord Ganesha, kindly remove the obstacles for this person who's having problems overcoming and grant them peace, peace, peace. Why not? We're not interfering. We're not asking that they get whatever it is that they think they want. We don't know just because somebody wants something doesn't mean it's good for them. Gratitude. We have to practice gratitude. So the gratitude list, everybody has gratitude somewhere in our heart. It's not like we don't. And then I love it when people tell me I do my gratitude list every day, and that's a really, really good practice to have. And remember that you want your gratitude list eventually at some point to deepen. It says eventually we become grateful for the bad things that happened in our life. Wait, did she say that? She did. A gratitude practice, at first it's kind of soft, thank you for my coffee, thank you for my parents, thank you for my children, thank you for my house, thank you for these things. And that's very, very important. Don't think I'm making this willy-nilly. This is a very, very good thing. It's a really good thing. And I totally encourage you to be grateful for these teeny tiny little things. And after a while, when you're grateful for a teeny tiny thing, it's enthusiastic. Oh, thank you for letting my car start today. There's this enthusiasm that can happen, So, the more that you practice the gratitude for the little things, you do learn to allow yourself to be enthusiastic about it. And remember what that word means. To be enthused is to be in God. So enthusiasm is very wonderful. Makes you enthused. When you have gratitude with enthusiasm, it means you're aware of the Divine One, protecting, guarding, guiding. You're aware that it's there, and you're taking advantage of it, which you're supposed to. Ask for help. Help me. Show me. Teach me. Guard me. These things are very important to ask for because they stimulate gratitude, because they will always be granted to you. We have to ask. Once you ask, it means you have faith that it exists and it will be given to you. But usually we're like, where is it? I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. And then we don't even say great. Then we're not even have any gratitude for it because we're not experiencing it, which just means I'm not opening up the box. It's there. If you ask for peace, it's there because it was there all along. What we're really asking for is, please make me aware of the peace within. Peace already exists inside of you. It's inherent. It's our natural state. So, but we have to ask for it because some part of our mind doesn't believe that peace is our natural state. And so it thinks we have to ask for it. And then the angels have to go to the angel store, and they pick up some peace for us, and then they deliver it and sprinkle it all over us. This is how we treat ourselves. Peace is inherent. It's already here. But when you ask for it, it wakes it up. It makes you aware that you're self-generating. You self-generate. Everything that you ask for is already within. But we're really asking for the awareness so that I can utilize it. That's really what we're doing. Peace isn't just at the angel store. It's in your heart. It's always with you. It's always been there, but you have to want it. These are proper desires. You see? The lower desires of stuff, those are the things we get these attachments to, and those are the things that cause us sorrow. When you start desiring peace, when you want that above all other things, you have everything you've ever wanted. Because why do you want all that stuff? Because you think it will make you feel peaceful inside. Well, when I have the perfect home and people come and they have Christmas with us, it's going to be everything I've ever wanted. So I'm going to work for everything for one day. And you think everybody's going to come in a good mood every year? No. Is it always going to be bright and wonderful? No. It's okay. These things are what they are. But it's better to really ask to be aware of your virtues, because that's where the strength of a human being lies, inside of your heart. We all have the ability to let go. Shocking, especially when you're going through a breakup of some kind. It's so hard to let go. No, because you think if you let go, it's never going to be the same again. Well, it's never going to be the same again, no matter what you do. It's not going to be the same. Yesterday already happened. Now we're here. It's not going to be the same. Every day you add something else into your recipe. So if I add more fear into my recipe today, it'll be there tomorrow and the next day and the day after. And then I add more fear that I can never let go. More fear, more fear, more fear. So the more fear I have, the less likely I am to let go. Because when we're afraid, what do? You see how I'm exaggerating, showing you how my body is doing this, but we know that's what fear looks like. It makes us hold on, and we hold on to ourselves. And if there's somebody around me right now, I'd be holding on to them, right? We don't let go when we're afraid. So we have to teach ourselves to be courageous. Courage, when people are courageous, you don't see them showing up, okay, where's the problem? Oh. No, they show up like this, okay, where's the problem? They're open. Courage opens us up. It makes us let go of our fear. It makes us move forward. It makes us do things that we really didn't think we could do. Sometimes basic anxiety will make people not be able to even make a phone call. We're like, well, that's just ridiculous. What do you mean you can't call that person? Why can't we just have compassion for that person in that moment and just say, oh, okay, I can do it for you. You see how simple that was? Anxiety could make us not be able to do certain things. And when anxiety peaks, there are lots of things that we might not be able to do in that moment. And yes, we have the power to overcome anxiety, but I'm talking about the times when we don't have access to it. Because sometimes we don't have access to it because we have not practiced it enough. That doesn't make us bad. It just makes us inexperienced. That's all. Why can't we have compassion for ourselves? We are all inexperienced. We're not enlightened. We're just inexperienced. We're still learning how to love till we do actually learn, apparently, to be completely unconditional. You can't be unconditional love isn't that you have it for one person. You can't have unconditional love for one person. You either have unconditional love or you don't. It means it goes for everybody. It's unconditional. You can't unconditionally love this one being and none of the others. That's not unconditional. That means that you really, really do love that person, of course. But there's conditions all along. That's something for you to ponder on. Excuse me. So here we are, the end of the year, 2021. How was it for you? So what I've been hearing from people these last few weeks, the mood, the general mood, people tell me, I feel stuck. I feel stuck. I feel like I don't know what to do. I feel like I don't know where to go next. Maybe these words are also another way of expressing feeling overwhelmed. We've gone through a lot, everybody in their own way. Some of us are resentful, feeling like I shouldn't have had to go through all of that. Gratitude will come and heal that wound. It will. It's there anyway right now, but some people right now are kind of living in resentment. And you know what? That's why we have to pray for peace. You know? So if you're feeling stuck or you're feeling like you can't move forward, I'm just going to tell you, well, of course you feel that way. We've been through a lot as individuals and as a collective. All human beings on the planet. The interesting thing to me is that these last couple of years, all of us have been touched by pain and grief. And how are we responding? Are we responding to one another with, this should never have happened, I'm pissed off, bah, bah? Could be how people are responding, of course. It's very difficult to say, I'm so grateful that we went through all of this. But what we're saying is, I'm so grateful for the power of love that was always present. It's been hard not to be pulled down into hate, right? It's been hard not to be pulled down into anger and resentment and all of these things. People are saying terrible things to one another. It's not easy. Don't let that happen to you. No, keep yourself really clean. Keep your heart clean. Insist that you have gratitude, that no matter what we went through, that you're grateful that you have the power to overcome, and that we as human beings collectively, we have the power to overcome. And we do. We do have the power to overcome. We can never erase what's happened. It's part of our recipe now, you see. We are living with it, and we will continue to live with it, and how we worked through it. It's very, very important. How did you go through this? What did it teach you about yourself? Because we're not totally through it yet, but it's time for us to really think about it. What have you been learning from this situation of this virus? What did the virus teach you? So our enemies are always our biggest teachers. Those who oppose us are our biggest teachers. Those who stand in front of us and say, no, you can't do that. You're not good enough. They are our teachers. You either become like them and believe what they're saying and you become that way, or you overcome. You don't have to stay and fight them. You don't have to fight against others for yourself. You just fight for yourself. You stand up. You help yourself to remember, courage lives all the time in my heart. I gotta wake it up. Wake up. You got to wake up to that which you already have. And waking up is not easy for everybody. You know, everybody wakes up differently. There are those people that, you know, it takes an hour for them to wake up. Then there's those people that just jump out of bed and they're like, hello, it's a new day. And everything in between, right? We all wake up differently. So we're all going to wake up from this virus trauma. We're all going to wake up in our own way. Some kind of grumpily at first, some right away with joy, and everything in between. But we must wake up to the joy that was always there, and not to pretend that it didn't happen, not to push it under the rug, not to just be so sick of it. That means it's still eating you up. The virus didn't just come and make us sick in our respiratory. It was a seed to make us change. It brought out the best and the worst in us. But the best thing that it left us with was, once again, the power to overcome. If we go at each other, we'll just have to keep doing this again and again and again. The lesson is, each of us has the power to overcome. That means collectively, when we decide to work together, who knows how beautiful it's going to be on this planet. And that is the gift that's inherent in the virus. It teaches us that we have one another, whether we like it or not, whether we like one another or not. We're in this together, and we like to think that we're not, but we are. And it teaches us that other people can pull us down out of love, but that just means that you're just waiting for someone to show you the way to do that. Don't blame them. You make your own choices here. You have the power to love or not. And the virus is making that perfectly clear. What is your choice? What is your choice? Are you working on the power to love each of us, to send peace out into the world every day, or not? I'm sure you all know that we're in pretty big trouble. So we all need all hands on deck. We are in dire straits. We're not out of the wild waters yet. We're not.
Probably won't be for a long time.
We might not be for decades in various degrees and in different situations that are coming, because, you know, that's where we are right now. Don't let that make you disheartened. Don't let that make you scared. Let that make you dig deep inside of yourself and be determined to not be knocked off balance. To remember that you are a child of the universe, of divine forces, that you have the power to overcome. And everybody that thinks that they don't have it, remember that they do. And remember that they will. But focus on your own self, overcoming your own self. Let the virus teach you much more deeply how to love than you could before. Don't let it steal from you and make you think that I just want it gone. You see my attitude? That's what has to go. We all want it gone. I've never heard anybody say, oh, isn't it lovely? Let's build a place for it to live. You know, we all want it gone. But this kind of thing, pinched faces, if you're going to have a pinched face, think about the thoughts that are behind pinched faces. If you want it gone, then you say, yeah, I want it replaced with peace. I want to know that this virus came to tell us, look, you have a choice. As human beings, you can work together and overcome everything. You can all be well-fed, well-educated, and nobody goes home thirsty. Or you can ignore one another and live where there's starvation, no water, and all kinds of problems. It's our world, individually and collectively. It's one big heart, humanity, one big heart. I hope that we take care of it through our gratitude, right? Okay. Sorry, one moment. Technical difficulties. Okay, I'll let you have it. Whoops. Couldn't have it over.
Question time.
So, what I'm going to do is it time?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do 3 ohms for those who want to leave. And then if you want to stay and ask questions, okay, that would be perfect. Okay, so let's sit up straight. And let's do 3 ohms. And if you need to leave, remember the solstice celebration is going to be on December 18th. And we still have room for that. And so you can always let us know about that, okay? It's outdoors and it's at Jim and Leanne's home, which is such an incredible place. Jim and Leanne, I have to tell you, it makes me weepy. I love them. I love them. And I am so grateful that you allow us to celebrate the divine forces in your home. Thank you. It's beautiful there, what they have done and how they take care of it. Mm-hmm. If you can't feel the angels there, I don't know where you're going to feel them. So I hope you come and join the celebration of the sun, a celebration that human beings have been doing it long time ago, well over 2,000 years. We're going to say like 10,000 years. Okay, let's carry on the tradition. So 3 ohms. Ready? Thank you so much for being here. Peace, peace, peace be with you. Okay, if you have questions, let me know. Thank you.
I have a question.
Certainly.
It's to Jim and Leanne, actually. Are you guys up in Fire Mountain?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the house we always go to, right? We used to go to? Your
Yeah.
house? Okay. What time are you starting your?
10 o'clock.
Okay.
10 to 2.
10 to 2? Perfect. Thank
I
you.
will put the registration link in the chat right now. So if you guys want to register, we do have a close off date for it now. So we don't have any last minute show up. So I can find that and put it in the chat for you all.
Okay. Thanks.
She's so good.
Yes,
Yeah, I can't do that. Yeah, I'll just find that and put that in for you. We all have our things that we can do, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Does anybody else have a question?
Oh, I just want to share something. This is
Sure.
Deborah. That in your talk was so beautiful, and I'm so glad you went through resentment and that and desires. And I love the Phoenix bird story.
We forget
Of
about
course,
her, right?
yeah, we're all Phoenix birds.
Yep, we are.
Yeah, my wings are a little singed, but or a lot, like flying with one arm.
I've still got
Anyway.
some darkness on mine, yeah.
Yeah. Self-disclosure doesn't matter, but once I work through the power to overcome, say, alcoholism, then it's like this gratitude, not that it wasn't before, but the gratitude just bursts of itself.
Right?
Yeah, so yes, I'm very grateful for those those traumas that one has in life, because they've pushed me to keep going and growing and thinking, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? My prayers, Lord, let me understand what this lesson is all about, because I don't want to go through it again.
Mhm. And
So
that's a
it's
really good thing that you're saying.
so it's just beautiful. So then, in knowing that you have this power to overcome always, because it's the power of love, and we have love, the power of love, as being part of a human being. It's innate, as you said before. And so then this gratitude is birthed in your heart, and it abides.
That's right. It definitely does. And the thing is that, we have this gratitude is always present with us, but this is why we focus on the virtues, is so that it actually becomes more conscious. It's not only unconscious and with us, but we're bringing it forth. We're bringing it out. We're like, I want to practice it. It's
Right.
yeah. Gratitude is pretty dang powerful.
Yeah, St. Augustine says that gratitude is the mother of all virtues.
Yeah.
So
You don't have any
that's
gratitude, you're not going to continue to learn because you don't even accept or believe anymore.
right.
When we lose
And
gratitude, then we're like, yeah, then you lose hope and everything else.
yeah, and it seems like the natural expression of our humanity is the virtues.
Mhm.
Our morals. But I like to call them virtues because their morals seem to change.
It's just that it's an older word, and so we just really don't use it anymore because, we don't believe like moral is good anymore because, we're like, well, that's immoral. That's moral. That's immoral. But it's always the goodness in your heart is where your virtues are. And virtues, another word for virtues are our strengths, our human strengths. Virtues are human strength. The saboteurs are human weaknesses.
Yes.
So yeah, all virtues are strength. I say that because sometimes people are like, oh, virtues, goody two shoes. Oh, really? Apparently you haven't tried it.
Right. Try being humble.
Yeah, it's weightlifting for your
Mhm.
spirit.
Right.
We take care of our bodies and we're like, look how strong my body is. But where's our inner strength? We have to exercise our virtues. We have to exercise our inner strength so that we're resilient to all of the viruses of anger and jealousy and betrayal and all of these things, And I forgot to give the word, didn't I? Yeah.
Give me letters for a reason.
So those of you that are here, I'll put it out. What the word is. So the word for, because I just used the saboteur. So the word for December is the word friendship. Yeah.
That's a good
And
one.
the saboteur of friendship is betrayal. And so remember, the thing about betrayal is that we always feel like betrayal comes from outside of us, like somebody betrays us.
No.
But in the very beginning, we usually betray ourselves, where we've made a decision, where somewhere inside of us, we knew that wasn't the decision to make, but we go ahead and do it anyway. And then eventually it comes back and it is what we say, it bites us. So betrayal is a very difficult thing to overcome, because it hurts so incredibly bad.
Something I want to wish they could join me.
Oh, we wish so too. So friendship is this thing that I always say it's the greatest gift in the universe, really, because friendship has to do with this really wonderful relationship. If you're married to your best friend and you say, this is my husband or my wife, but really they're your best friend, what a blessing for you. Not everybody feels that way, Look at those two bumping into each other.
You guys are relationship goals for everyone.
Yeah. You really set the standard.
Yeah.
It's true, and sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'll say, oh, and there's this relationship, it's like you'll have this really sacred friendship, and people will say to me, but there's going to be passion, right? I'm always like, what? Of course, to me, that's like a given. That's usually what brings people together, is that interesting connection in that way. But friendship is something that you have to develop. Friendship is this sacred trust between two people. It really is. It's between you and the divine. When the more faith that we have, there's a sacred friendship, a sacred trust that's established between you and divinity. And you begin to actually almost like treat divinity as if it's a living being, like that's with you at all times. Because now you're aware of that part of you that is divine, and it is always with us. But the divine forces cannot intervene, they can't interfere. So if you don't talk to them, they're like, uh-oh, is she okay? Okay, all right. They can't interfere. They're like whispering in your ear, no, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. Because they're your friend. Don't go there, don't go there. And you're like, oh, I really shouldn't go here. Screw it, I'm going anyway. Boom! Right? And they can only watch. Right? Can't interfere. But the more you concentrate on how loved you are, and there's always this sacred friendship in your life, then you have greater access to protection, divine guidance, divine love, divine friendship. Then you're never alone. I tell that to people sometimes, I know I'm never alone. Even though I live alone, that's right. Even though I live alone, I know that. No matter how much time I spend by myself, I am never alone. And neither are you. I'm aware of it. Are you? If you're not, I'm like, get it. Get into it. You want it. I want it. I know you want it too. And as you start to cultivate more about it, you realize that you've never been alone. There's much, 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 much life in this universe that is invisible to our eyes. And the more that we grow internally, the more we become aware of how much life is always around us at all times that we don't see with our eyes. You see? Really an important part of being a human being is to realize there's so much more than what your eyes can bring to you or your ears. I mean, look at Helen Keller. Seriously. I mean, look at that woman. She's famous for what she could see and what she could hear through touch. She knew she was never alone. She knew the divine one was always with her. She didn't have that thing about, resentment. That woman had gratitude. She was a walking, talking example of gratitude. That's love. That's cosmic love. That's friendship with the divine. So that's why that's the word for December. That's why the solstice is all about being reborn. Because the sun, it's like its light diminishes because we're so far away from it, in our little orbit around it. Right now we're like so far, way, way far. But it's like if you could remember it, it's like you're right up next to it. So we celebrate the birth of the sun to remember the birth of the sun within. Because when we go in our darkness, where we feel betrayed, we feel forgotten, we feel whatever we feel, that darkness overcomes us. And to celebrate the solstice means we are part of a living universe, and the living universe functions just the same way human beings function.
Tell them about the place in Ireland that only gets sunshine during the winter solstice.
But those places
Blew my mind.
Ruby's mind got blown the other day. So as you will know, there are places, or some of you may know this, there are places around the world that have been built, of course, thousands of years ago to celebrate the first shard of light, right? From the solstice, from the winter solstice. So this is the phoenix bird myth. You see, myths are how we carry on laws, it's laws of the universe. To overcome is a law of the universe. Everything overcomes. Everything that dies is reborn in different forms. Nothing ever actually goes away. But this somehow or another is very, very difficult for us. So yes, there are places that have been that have been built to help us to celebrate that moment when that first light breaks through. And people, thousands of years ago would walk many, many miles for days, for weeks to get to the place where they could all gather together and celebrate that one little piece of light that was coming in through there. And you see, they're presented like, oh yeah, they're just those old-fashioned people, they didn't know any better. They just wanted to see the sun. They thought it was really cool. They were like, oh, the sun. That's how they're presented. It's like, oh, how disrespectful. They felt it. They know
Yep.
that it was not just happening like that. They're like us. They're the same as us. I don't know why we think that they weren't aware of the divine forces. What would make them do what they did to build those places, to calculate them? Because they knew that when you mimic it like that out in the world, it's mimicking that which happens in here. We are a child of the universe. We are made up of the exact same things that the stars and the planets are made of. We are the same. I'm not giving you philosophy. It's the truth. So the more we understand that cosmic part of us, it drags us up from these places where we think we're this little, I'm just this little thing and nobody sees me and nobody will ever see me. You see, we get like that when really what lives inside of us is the sun. Well, you have to become aware of it. You have to become aware of it. Helen Keller couldn't see it. She couldn't hear it. But she never, ever doubted for a moment that it didn't live within her. And because of that, it grew. It grew, it grew, it grew. And here we are talking about her name. She's still with us, you see. People who learn these things in their life, how to spread light, they live on inside of us. They are our older brothers and sisters. They're showing us through their life. That light was always there. It was always there. But you can't find it until you live in darkness. You have to live in darkness. You have to suffer in some way in order to overcome. That's what overcoming means. It means that you've been suffering. So we all live like Helen Keller. It's true. It's true.
LLHK, live like Helen Keller.
What?
LLHK, live like Helen Keller.
Young people. But it's true. We're all Helen inside. We're like, where's the light? And we're looking around because we have eyes and ears. We're like, I can't see it. I can't hear it. And she's like, you don't need those eyes and ears to hear it, see it. All you need is boom, 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 boom. You got one of those?
Isn't that when Christmas is so full of light?
Yes, because it's the light being born in the darkness. It's the SON being born in your heart. I always say for me, it's the SUN, but for some people, it's the SON. Doesn't make any difference. It's still the light. Doesn't make any difference which way you look at it. It's still light. Anybody have a question? That's how I feel.
Well, just a comment.
Yes.
Well, I'm overwhelmed with what you just today. Anyway, I had a question, but I can't put it together now. So thank you.
You're so adorable. Love that.
It is overwhelming,
Is it?
the universe.
Oh, yeah. What was it that you used to get upset about? Oh, the hurling planets.
Yeah, it made me nauseous.
Oh, yeah. When Ruby was really young, I used to always tell her, now remember, we live on a planet that's, spinning and hurling through space, and she'd be like, don't tell me that. You have to know these things. You're perfectly safe. Yeah, talking about cosmic things can be a little overwhelming, right?
Yeah. Well, samskaras, just briefly, I just love that word anyway. But you were speaking to the memory that stays with the samskaras that are embedded, and they are can be both traumatic and wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, I just
The
didn't mix the
memory.
word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Sanskrit word for what we talked about memories is samskara. I always think it's interesting because it sounds like a scar,
Yes. Yeah.
right? That's how I
Yes.
always remember what that is, because memories are like scars in that way. They're evidence that you've gone through something in some way,
Mhm.
And samskaras are all of these thoughts that still live in our subconscious, because our subconscious is much bigger than we realize. It holds all of your past lives. It just doesn't hold what you have done in this lifetime. It holds all of your past lives, which makes you at 12 want to go buy a pack of tarot cards. Seriously, I use that as an example because, it just kind of illustrates that, because it's unusual,
Mhm.
but wherever you are, the things that you have a tendency to want to do, you've done before.
Mhm. Yeah.
In some form or another, it's part of your recipe and it's coming forth again for whatever reason.
Yes.
Harry Potter and Dumbledore's office.
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Yeah. Harry Potter is a good way to learn about this. I love that, honey.
Wouldn't that be nice if you could just take things out?
Well, yeah, so it would be nice.
Mhm.
So anyway, I really enjoyed being with you guys today. And I hope that you stay with the word friendship this month and find that cosmic friendship, as well as the friendship with your sweetheart, the friendship with, your friends, your neighbors. And if you feel like it, it would be really good to put those prayers out for peace, for the friendship, for all of us around the world, because I think you've probably noticed that the world isn't very friendly right now to one another. We're kind of being, what is that when it's not like
Hostile? Hostile?
Well, yes, there is that. That word did not cross my mind, but yes, it is getting to be hostile.
Isolationists.
Yes, isolationists. Exactly. We're all like the fans in a football game, we're all like, why didn't he do this? The players are like, what are you talking about? Do you want to come down here and play? We're like all these observers criticizing each other all the time. But we have to remember that we're in the game.
Mhm.
So I hope I get to see you at the summer solstice. I mean, the summer.
I
I'm
wish,
I'm
right?
already in the summer.
Yeah.
At the winter solstice on the 18th.
Well, first we'll see Joe and Leanne.
What?
We'll at least see Joe and Leanne.
Yes, at least we'll see Jim and Leanne. Okay?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye all, friends.
Bye.
Bye. Peace to you.